There was a time when I believed my life had been carefully set in place, each piece fitting together as if it had been designed with perfect precision. My marriage, I thought, was unshakable, a refuge built on promises that felt unbreakable. We were a team, my wife and I, united by a love I believed could withstand anything. Our bond, in my eyes, was carved into something harder than stone. But life has a merciless way of dismantling illusions. It strips away the comforting layers, revealing truths you never imagined existed. For me, it began with what seemed like nothing more than a gentle ripple. She told me she needed to step back, to breathe, to have a little distance from our life together. Just for a short while, she said, her tone calm, almost tender, but her eyes carried a firmness I couldn't ignore. I remember the moment vividly, the way she seemed to search for the least painful way to tell me something I didn't understand. I swallowed my confusion and pain, burying them beneath my devotion to her. I assured her I understood, convinced myself it was only a temporary strain. I thought perhaps work pressure, family expectations, or the monotony of routine had worn her down. I had no idea it was the first crack in a dam that was about to burst. The first week without her was strange and hollow. The bed felt larger, colder, without her beside me. I reached out again and again, calls, texts, small acts of care, but her replies were curt, distant, almost mechanical. I kept telling myself to be patient. Surely she just needed space to clear her head. But as days bled into weeks, the silence became unbearable. No returned calls, no visits, no explanations, just a void where our life used to be. I replayed our last conversations endlessly in my head, dissecting every word, searching for what I might have done wrong. Had I failed her? Was I not enough? I leaned on friends for advice and buried myself in work, trying to muffle the ache inside me, but nothing could fill the emptiness she left. A month passed, and I began to realize this wasn't a break, in the way I'd imagined. It was deliberate space, a chasm widening between us. Still, I clung to hope, believing somehow she'd return and we'd rebuild. 2 months later, I stopped keeping track of the days. My phone sat untouched, its screen dark, a reminder of her absence. I moved through life in a daze, doing what I had to, but everything felt stripped of meaning. The laughter, the late-night talks, the shared dreams gone. And then 3 months later the knock came. When I opened the door, she was standing there, tired, worn, and carrying a weight I couldn't immediately name. For a moment, I dared to believe she was there to reconcile, to fight for us. But her first words shattered that fragile hope. She was pregnant, and the child was not mine. During our separation, she had been with another man, a brief encounter, she claimed, and now she was carrying his baby. My mind froze, the ground beneath me giving way. How do you even process that the person you've trusted with every piece of yourself could betray you so completely? She tried to explain, said she'd been lost, lonely, drowning in her own struggles. She swore it wasn't meant to hurt me, that it was a mistake she wished she could undo. She pleaded for understanding, for forgiveness. But her words only echoed in the hollow space where my trust had once been. I looked around our home and it felt foreign, like I no longer belonged in the life we had built. Every plan, every hope, every shared vision disintegrated into dust before my eyes. Part of me wanted to cling to what we had, to find some way to salvage it, but the pain was too deep. I knew I had to protect myself, my heart, my dignity, my future. So I made the hardest decision I've ever made. I filed for divorce. But I didn't stop there. I also took legal action against her for her betrayal, determined not to let her walk away untouched after destroying what we'd built. The legal battle was grueling. Endless paperwork, court dates, draining confrontations. Every step forward felt like reopening the wound. Friends and family stood by me, but no one could fully understand the storm inside me. Through it all, I refused to let this define me. I focused on piecing myself back together, on remembering who I was before the marriage. Healing wasn't quick or easy. There were nights when the loneliness pressed in, moments when I doubted I could ever trust again. But slowly, I found strength in moving forward. I learned the hard truth that love isn't always enough to hold two people together, that space can be the doorway to something far more painful, and that the person you thought you knew best can turn into a stranger overnight. Yet, in losing her, I found something else. My resilience. I discovered the courage to walk away, to fight for myself, and to rebuild from nothing. If you're facing something similar, know this. Your pain is real, your heartbreak valid, but you are stronger than you realize. You can reclaim your story, protect your heart, and build a life beyond the wreckage. And when you do, you'll see that even from the deepest betrayal, a new beginning can take root.